Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another week in med school. It is Monday. It's the first day of mind and behavior, and I'm going to take you through the day so you can get an idea of what it's like to start a brand new block and also to see like my thoughts, how it goes by the end of the day. I will say I try really hard not to get my hopes up and like get excited about a block, because then sometimes you get your heart broken and it's terrible and it's ran terribly and everybody's angry, and then you're just bitter, extra bitter if you had high hopes. But with this one, I couldn't help it. The block director, court, whatever they're called, sounds so cool. He did a 3-minute video where he told us how we're gonna do pre-work, and like they created this whole website, and there's games and there's quizzes, and like it seems like it's actually gonna be active learning, which is like what our whole curriculum is supposed to be, but it hasn't been since one block, human lymph, last year. Anyway, I try not to have high hopes, but I really can't help it with this block, so I'm going to show you along, and by the end of the day you're going to know whether those expectations are met or whether I'm really sad by the end of the day and I'm like, oh, it's just going to be another crappy block. We will see. And like mind and behavior, like how can it not be cool? Either way, like it doesn't matter. Like MSK wasn't ran well at all, but I still really enjoyed it. Like learning this stuff in med school is so fun, learning the muscles in the leg, but now we're in the mind, and that's gonna be cool either way. So first up is doing pre-work for the week, and I'll let you know how it goes, what we're learning, and how this little game quiz active learning pre-work actually is after I actually do it.
Shadows of the morning are crawling on my floor when I just wanna lie here.
Okay, I just watched the narcolepsy one, and I've always thought that I've had narcolepsy, but now I think it even more because one of the symptoms is sleep paralysis, and that used to happen to me all the time. It's been a long time, but I've had it a handful of times. I have narcolepsy. And like maybe 5 other things that I've learned so far. Okay, pre-work's done. It's only 8 o'clock, and now between now and when lecture recordings start becoming available, I'm going to do like sketchy videos and maybe boards and beyond, because I looked at the kind of breakdown for our end of course like final for mind and behavior, and it's a lot of pharm. So I'm going to get an early head start on learning all these drugs that we need to know, SSRIs, things like that, and just do that until I can watch lecture recordings. Most interesting thing I learned during pre-work was that severe PMS is actually a disorder called premenstrual dysphoric disorder, and it's like treated with SSRIs. Crazy. I think the rest of stuff, like this is like bringing back MCAT, so yeah, the psych soc section comes back in med school. But first, breakfast, because I am ravenous.
Small town with no one stranger, but I'm the one brand new. Met all of my neighbors, but just remember you. All that with the phone in your left hand. Look me up and down, and then you said, who are you? In the back of the car, we at the party when you took me by the hand.
So every time we start a new block, they always, 30 minutes before the chief concern, they just like introduce themselves, how long they've been working on the course, like their plans and how it's gonna be run and like things like that. So I'm watching that now, so we'll see what else they have in store for us.
All kinds of other things that psychiatrists do that we did put in this curriculum, and we put the less common disorders beyond the first year. And this gives you a chance to think about how would if I wanted to implement mental health initiatives on a pop.
Okay, another thing that's really exciting is that Monday afternoons we no longer have anatomy. And they're supposed to be more like interactive, like since anatomy's hands-on, we're not gonna have something like traditional lecture Monday afternoon. It's gonna be something interactive, and some things we're learning on week 1 is personality structures, personality disorders, self-harming behaviors and suicide, pathology of mood, physiology of mood, very cool stuff. Ordered and disordered sleep, responding to a person with a sleep disorder, and then Thursday afternoon we have case-based interactive synthesis and applications. Those are always, small group Thursdays are always good when they're like done well, so exciting for that. Anyway, okay, I'm like halfway through the orientation and I'm already getting more excited.
There's raindrops on my window, and I'm going nowhere fast. Behind these closed eyes, I visualize.
Okay, unpopular opinion. You'll have to let me know below if you agree or disagree. There's the tea currently in my friend's group chat of friends is that this new course director is like cold calling people, and they're like, don't make eye contact, like he's calling us all out, like half of our group has already been called on. I hate that in a lecture hall nobody wants to speak up, and if you're the person that always speaks up, it's like everybody looks negatively towards that. That's ridiculous. Like, we're excited to learn this stuff. Why doesn't anybody want to speak up? It doesn't matter how many people there are. We all know each other, at least to some effect, at least like half, maybe kind of a third. But like, absolute pet peeve. Speak up. It shouldn't be weird for like the 1 to 2 people who like always do it because nobody else wants to do it. Drives me crazy. I commend this guy for cold calling people. It makes me want to go to lecture, honestly.
And so I say goodbye to the shadows as morning breaks to noon. Another day I'm living, another song I'm singing, and I know I've got.
Okay, our first lecture isn't out yet. I think they're recording like 2 hours at a time. So I've been practicing this sketchy video, and when I think of the picture or like try to recall information, I picture it and like I remember like where things are in the picture. So I just kind of like wrote it out like that. Like on the right side of the sketch is SSRIs. So like this is just like where the guy was sitting with OCD, like organizing like the staplers, and this is like the drugs that were on the wall. Both of SSRIs and SNRIs do depression, and then like this, they were sitting at this table, and anyway, like I put them in the place that they are in the picture and just practice writing like without looking, like, okay, what are the 5 things that SNRIs treat? And I like forgot PTSD, but I remember the rest. And then like SSRIs, okay, like what does that treat? And the drugs. So little active learning while I wait for this lecture to come out. And now I don't know, I guess I'll just do the Anki cards for this sketchy video. Might be a while till, it'll probably be 11 until lecture recording comes out, and then I'll be able to watch it. All right, 10 a.m. lecture, or 9 a.m. lecture is uploaded. Got some Cheez-Its. I'll set a timer, and let's see, the lecture is 1 hour and 43 minutes. I'm curious if I save any time by doing it at home. Not that I really care. I just like being in this environment, and also I'd be there for actually 2 hours if I were there in person, so I'm sure I'll save time. We'll see, actually, though. I'm gonna set a timer on my phone and then watch it.
Asleep, I realize that the world outside is just a metaphor for these eyes. And even if they out to criticize, I'll deny fear, I'll be right here.
All right, it is almost 12:30, so I didn't quite get through that lecture, but I got through like 1 hour and 20 minutes of the lecture in 50 minutes. Doesn't always happen. My goal isn't to do it faster, but for once that's easy to follow along with. It's just really, like the beginning, I watched at 2 times speed because he was just like talking about the history of mood disorders and like the epidemiology and that stuff, and there wasn't anything to make cards on, so I got through the beginning really quick. But I want to get to class early because I like to sit in the back, so gotta eat lunch, walk Oakley, and get there early. Oakley, it's time for a walk, let's go. Do your stretch first.
Mama, stir me from my sleep. I've been sleeping too long.
Good job. Let's go.
I just wanna lie here, but I don't wanna die here. So I'm gonna take my best shot. Shot out of bed into the tip top. Sitting on the edge of my bed, waiting by the river, waiting by the river. I found a little piece of homestead, waiting by the river, waiting by the river. It's clear to see I'm free, yeah. Waiting by the river, waiting by the river. I'm chasing these dreams, awake or asleep. Awake or asleep.
Guys, you will never guess what we just did for the past 2 hours. We literally did group therapy. I'm not complaining. Okay, for the last 2 hours, we don't have to memorize or learn anything we just did for the last 2 hours. So better than lecture, right? Like a dense lecture. And you're like, oh my gosh, so much to memorize. No, it was just group therapy for an hour. So we got in medium-sized groups. For an hour, half the group was in the circle doing the group therapy, and then we switched. I was in the second group, and mine was so quiet. There was so much silence. And I was the one that talked the most because after 2 straight minutes of silence, I was like, I can't do this anymore, and something just blurted out of my mouth. Oh my god, what an experience. Anyway, I'm really hungry and I gotta go to the gym because a lot of pent up energy after sitting there in silence for 2 hours. Whew, okay. All right, off to the gym, and this is like the beginning to my favorite little night routine. We're gonna take Oakley to the soccer field after and do the whole shebang.
In the back of the car, we at the party when you took me by the hand. In front of the prom king, like you hardly know my neighborhood. Leaving me so alone, I could pull on till you don't know where to go. Running in circles till it's 'cause I know I just can't be you. You're something special, but damn, it's stressful.
Whoa. I'm back from the gym, and guess who's hogging the soccer field? I don't know. Freaking soccer players. Totally ruining I knew this was going to happen when the days got longer. We're going to have to find somewhere else to go. It's so... anyway. We'll have to wait them out and go later, I guess. I guess I can shower first and see if they're still there.
And so I say goodbye to the shadows as morning breaks to noon. Another day I'm living another song I'm singing, and I know I've got nothing to lose, but my soul keeps shining. They say that I'm misguided, but I wanna make this move. I guess that you could say that I woke up with this melody in my head, shot out of bed 'cause I got something to prove. So when I say, Mama, turn the light on, understand just what I mean. When I'm asleep I will dream, and when I wake you will see.
Alright guys, it's 8:40 and look at how much I stocked up on Colleen Hoover books. Like, when I say I'm obsessed, I am truly obsessed. Finished Ugly Love, not as good as Verity, but still had to get to the end. Layla, Maybe Someday. And I have November 9 out in the kitchen, so very, very excited to read all of them. And now is when I would sit down and read Reminders of Him till I go to bed, because that's the one I want to read next. But today's the deadline for taxes and I haven't even started, so unfortunately that's what I have to do, and then I'll go to bed. All right, thoughts on first day of Mind and Behavior. Just so you know, in the beginning, when you start med school, for any incoming med students or will be in the future, the first day of new blocks was always so overwhelming in the beginning. Like, truly, it's like, how am I going to learn all of this? Like, this is an insane amount of information. But then by Friday, like, you do fine on the quiz and you're like, okay, this isn't that bad. And then like 5 months in, you're expecting that overwhelming feeling, so it's not as overwhelming as it used to be in the beginning. And now, like, this block especially is just like straight up chill. Like, we did group therapy for the last 2 hours, not even a lecture. Like, it's going to be great, and that's really good because we have an anatomy practical and docs assessment coming up at the end of the 3 weeks of the block. So Mind and Behavior is 3 weeks, then we have our final, which is... So first, my plan of attack for Mind and Behavior, I think the key will be doing a little bit of pharmacology each day. Like I did the sketchy video today and the active learning, like I want to do a little bit of that each day because it's 30% of our final. So that's the key for me as far as like doing as well as I want to in this block. And then my plan of attack for finals is to not study for anatomy and docs last minute. But Thursday mornings, it's my plan to actually go to anatomy lab from 8 to 12 if I have to. It's only like 3 weeks. So all mornings will be anatomy lab, getting ready for our practical a little bit over time instead of last minute. Granted, it worked out really well doing it last minute. I actually got a better score when I did it everything last minute, but I don't think that's a good habit to keep up. And yeah, I think that'll help me be successful. And then with Mind and Behavior, just continuing to do my same study routine that's working really well. And when finals are over, hopefully we can take the camper van to Zion. So that's like an overview and plan of attack for my next month of med school. I hope it was really, really fun to kind of like see what a first day of a new block is like. And yeah, so that wraps up this week's vlog. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow along on Instagram, and I can't wait to see you in the next one and update you on how Mind and Behavior is going.
I just can't be you. You're something special.